Okay, so fun fact, every Sunday we forget that there's a video that plays between the end of the countdown and when I start talking, and it's awkward every time. And that is the sort of authenticity we bring here for you on Sunday mornings, live streaming. Also, apparently we dance if you ask us to. Welcome to Sojo Birch Church Sunday. Matthew and I had the privilege of chatting with some friends of Ben's actually this week, who are a band called The Many. And we're going to start with a song of theirs today because we love them and we were so inspired by their sort of commitment to creating fully affirming, inclusive, non-triggering,
anti-racist
church songs for folks. Yeah. So here it is.
You've been wounded, all you've lost hope. Come, you are longing for what you do not know. Come hungry for justice, aching for heaven on earth. Come, you've been tossed aside, don't remember what you're worth. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, come your doubts and your scars. Come as you are. Come, you've been cast out, oh, you've been shamed. Come, you are looking for the mystery you can't name. Come, you crying for mercy, hoping for peace on earth. Come, you carry questions, oh, you've been so hurt. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are.
You know, Virtue Church is just not always perfect, so I had this song before we started, and then Fable ran through the comments. It totally threw me. Now she's talking loud outside. I have no idea.
Oh, you misfits and prophets, oh, you sinners and saints, oh, you broken and needy, oh, you weary and faint, oh, who seek to simply open their eyes, oh, you need to find a safe place to cry. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are. Come as you are.
All right, you made it.
Apologies to The Many. We'll do better next time.
You survived. You got to the other side. And he's off to tackle the children. Well, welcome to Sojo, where it all belongs.
Here.
And here we are. But that's the truth. You did the thing by coming through the virtual door today. Whether you came here tired or weary or frazzled from whatever interneting you did prior to clicking through here, whether you are melting in the San Diego heat this week or wishing you were here in the San Diego heat, although you should stop wishing that. It's warm. However you identify, whoever you are, however you orient, whomever you love, you belong here in this space. And we love to celebrate the place where you are at this moment and how deeply and thoroughly loved you are within that exact space, in this exact space and time. So welcome. When all your hopes are shattered, when you feel like your soul is a sea, your dreams don't seem to matter, your heart is bruised and battered, you can't feel anything. Love anyway. Love anyway. When your world has gone to hell, no story left to tell. Love anyway.
I could be a long lost pilgrim, build my home on fragile faith, be the victim and the villain, still a father to my children, owner of a heart that's slow to change. Love anyway. Love anyway. When your world's gone to hell, no story left to tell. Love anyway. Truth and
Consequence,
pride and tenderness, all those failed attempts, joy and happiness, joy and happiness, joy and happiness. Love gone to hell, no story left to tell. Love anyway. When your water's gone to hell, no story left to tell. Love anyway.
It's gonna work.
Okay. You good?
Okay.
Good morning. Pastor Kate here. I have some friends joining me this morning. There's one of them. Hi, Huckleberry. And Fable. Are you good?
I'm not.
You all set? Okay. So we're joining you today. Do you want to say something to make sure your mic is good? You feel good?
I feel good.
We're joining you today to read and talk about the Peace Book. Huck's struggling with the mic. The Peace Book by Todd Parr. So we wanted to talk to you today about how peace is an action that we take. It's something we do in the world. Peace doesn't just happen. And oftentimes we think of peace as, there's chaos and struggle, and peace is just this calm time when there isn't struggle. But actually there's just always struggle and always chaos, and peace is something that we do in the chaos and in the struggle. So that's how I've come to understand peace in my life, and I think this book by Todd Parr, the Peace Book, is a really great reflection of that, and then the kiddos have some thoughts about that. So they're going to read it to you, and then we're going to talk about what it looks like in the time of coronavirus to make peace.
Put this down lightly so it doesn't make any sound. I just dropped my block. No, this is not working perfectly. This is going perfectly. Okay. Oh, whoa. My voice is loud.
Okay.
Okay. Peace is making new friends.
Oh, I have to turn the page. I have to do my part.
Dude, Peace is keeping the water blue for all the fish. Peace is listening to different kinds of music.
Perfect. Don't even worry about the one on me. There you go. Do you want to say that last one again, Fable?
Peace is listening to different kinds of music. Peace is saying you're sorry when you hurt someone. Peace is helping your neighborhood. Peace is reading all kinds of books. Peace is thinking about someone you love. Peace is giving shoes to someone who needs them. Peace is planting a tree. Peace is sharing a meal. Peace is wearing different clothes. Peace is washing it snow.
Sounds good right now.
Peace is keeping the streets clean. Peace is offering a hug to a friend. Peace is everyone having a home.
Oh.
Peace is growing a garden. Peace is taking a nap. Peace is learning another language. Peace is having enough pizza in the world for everyone.
Woohoo!
Peace is keeping someone warm. Peace is new babies being born. Peace is being free. Peace is traveling to different places. Peace is wishing on a star. Peace is being who you are.
Amen. Can I borrow this? All of those things are making peace in the world. They're actions that we can take to make peace no matter how chaotic it is in the world, no matter how much struggle there is. We can make peace. We can act with peace. So, Fable, what do you think that it's okay. What do you think it looks like right now in the time of coronavirus? Because I noticed some things in this book don't work right now. In this climate with what's going on in the world, it doesn't work to make peace by hugging a friend, or at least not all the time. So what are some specific ways right now in the time of coronavirus and shelter in place? What does it look like to make peace in the world? What is some action that makes peace?
I think some action that makes peace is to stay 6 feet away from people and wear masks at all times.
Making peace. So peace is staying 6 feet away from other people and wearing your mask at all times. I like that. Peace is social distancing and wearing a mask. What about you, Huck? What do you think is making peace right now?
Zooming someone.
Did you say zooming someone?
Something else that exists.
Yeah. I like that.
What?
Fable's reminding you to say what you said earlier about this.
Oh, right. Do I have to?
Nope. Can I say it for you, what you said earlier?
Sure.
Earlier we were practicing this, and Huck said his idea for making peace in the time of coronavirus is zooming someone. And then he quickly followed that up with, I'm not sure if that's torture or making peace. Same, buddy. We all feel the same way about that. Thank you, Huck and Fable, for teaching us about peace this morning.
Okay, that's it.
Your iPhone. Thank you. All right. We are going to take a quick moment for house notes.
House notes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got left alone there.
House notes. I woke up this morning with just all the sads. I was sharing that in the comments. I just woke up this morning and instantly, like the second, Colby's reminding me, oh my God. The other day, Jon Stewart or Trevor Noah did a talk, and Jon Stewart was like this with his forehead, like at the camera. And Trevor Noah called him on it, and he's like, I've been doing so many of these meetings, and you're the first person to have the decency to tell me that my forehead was at the camera the whole time. It's great. It reminded me of myself because I'm constantly looking down at this iPad at myself instead of the camera. Anyway, hi, here we are. House notes. Live stream. I woke up so sad, and part of it was because things like that of saying house notes and missing Evelyn's voice, saying house notes. I miss Evelyn. I miss all of you in person. I miss you so much. And now it's moved beyond just missing you in this time to like a future grief casting, like how long is this going to be? And the panic that happens in me every time I think about that of that we went from this time in church where we were like, let's just, do this temporary short little break thing to be safe, to now it's like having to rearrange our thoughts around how to continue to do life together and be the organization that we are, to be a faith community whose mission is spiritual, emotional, and social wholeness. Sorry, this is my house note, by the way. You're like, when's she going to get to the house note? This is my house note. And so as a leadership team, the board and Colby and myself and all of us, we all are having to take this moment and be like, oh, there's been a shift. We've shifted from this quick little pause. We'll just, do live stream for a little while and we'll get back, to things are really moving. And I don't mean it in a doomsday way. We will all be back to normal together without masks and hanging out at some point in life, right? But it's looking like a long time. And so there's this shift from this, oh, we're just pausing really quick, to having to figure out how to do community and be the organization that we want to be in the world during all of this for like a long time. So I'm sharing that with you as a house note because I want to say that as your leadership team, we are addressing this and addressing this shift, this more long-term feeling and what that looks like. We know that there's a lot of panic around, wait, can we do some sort of in-person gatherings? And I just want to assure you that we are addressing that, talking about it a lot and brainstorming and thinking through things. And if you have thoughts and ideas that you want to share with us, you're always welcome to reach out to us at any of our email addresses or Facebook messages or however you communicate. And just know that we are really sitting seriously and thinking through how we can continue to be exactly all the things that we want to be in the world in new ways that are still safe as we look at a longer term. Is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 2 years before this thing is really under control? We can't just keep pausing and doing live stream and that's it. We need to do other things as well to continue to be all the things we want to be in the world. So this includes making sure that we continue to connect with Unidos por Siempre, the children's home in Mexico that we are a partnership with, and the refugee shelter that we've partnered with, and supporting the family that we have been walking with at Christ Lutheran, and continuing to partner with Christ Lutheran as they open their doors to feed people who need a meal. How can we continue to do all of the things that we care about, and the seeing each other in person that matters? It's so important, and we have to be able to figure that out. And so I just want to assure you that we are addressing that and thinking through it and trying to figure out how to really shift this organization and be all the things that we need to be in this time. So I just wanted to make that clear, that we're not just sitting here being like, live stream is all we're going to do, because I know a lot of you are like, live stream's great, but it's not enough. And then some of you, which you wouldn't be hearing this house note, but I'll make sure to say it to you, are like, live stream just doesn't work for me at all. So I just want you to know that it doesn't feel like enough to us, and we know that we need to keep doing more. And lastly, about live stream, I wanted to house note that really quick. So don't panic. And you should never start a house note with don't panic, but I just did. For the next 2 Sundays, so next week and the week after, the last 2 Sundays in July, this stream will look a little bit different. It's not going to technically be live. A lot of churches are doing pre-recorded services, and we have felt that the live is really important for connection and belonging and interaction, and to make sure that you feel like you're actually a part of all this and that we get to be together. And so we're continuing to be committed to that, and we will be doing that, but just not for 2 weeks. So the last 2 weeks in July are pre-recorded, so it's not that there won't be anything there, and broadcast at the same time, and the comments will still be live. So it's just going to miss that feel of all of us here live with you. But when we pre-recorded, we made sure to have some of those fun, laughing about that, interacting with you, telling you, see you with our future selves in the comments, and it will still be a great feel. We tried to provide different elements and really put together something beautiful for you still, and with this content that we're about to dig into in our new series, and we'll be there in the comments, and all of you will be in the comments, making it live and a real connection still. So just 2 weeks of this won't technically be live, but it's pre-recorded, great content still, beautiful music from the band still right here. It'll look the same, just have a slightly different feel for 2 weeks, but we'll still see you there. Okay, that's it from Rand's long-winded house notes. Oh, question of the day is... What's the question of the day? I don't know it. Name your top 3 favorite movies of all time. 3 favorites? I'm going to go challenge myself in that right now in the comments. I'll see you there. I'm going to try to think of my 3 favorite movies. You do it too. See you there.
Oh, well, I already said mine in the comments. October Sky, Moulin Rouge, and The Shipping News.
Moulin Rouge is a good one. I don't really have a top 3. When Harry Met Sally is how that's my answer for what's your favorite movie. But that's really only because it's the only one I don't mind watching over and over and over again. The rest of the movies, I'm one and done.
Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Oh.
All the Enneagram 4s just got really excited.
Be thou my vision, O light of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best Lord, by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence, my life.
Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word. Voice from within me, speak out undeterred. Thou my kind mother, I thy true child. Thou in me dwelling, my heart reconciled.
Riches I heed not, life's empty praise. Thou mine inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only first in my heart. Spirit of knowing, my treasure thou art. Spirit of knowing, my victory won. Oh, may I reach heaven's joys, oh bright and sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, oh keeper of all. Still be my vision, oh keeper of all.
I wrote the lyrics to this song as a way to mother my own postpartum anxiety. In the first year of motherhood, when everything felt like it was closing in all of the time, I wrote these words because they're the words I wanted someone to say, whether that someone was love or God or mother or all of the above. So in the heat, in isolation, in all of this, this is the prayer. When you are tired, when you are alone, when peace is a river, it's distant and cold, there in the mist, there on the wind, there like a promise, it's where you begin. Water and fire, quiet my soul, look to the mountains, be still and know all you have needed, and all that you owe is water and fire, is heaven and home. When you are awake, when you are alone, when joy is a fountain, weary to flow, there on the desert, there in the deep, there like the sacred, dark secrets you go, I go.
Hey, good morning, church, and, well, I don't know what else. Church and potential churchers. If you're here, you are part of the church. You belong. So I guess if you're watching, welcome to the Sojourn community. I'm glad that you participated with us in that question of the day, although I do want to make sure that everybody's okay right now. There's a little bit of, there's a lot of love for Princess Bride, and then someone, I'm not going to name names, but Jen Hoffman then said she just can't get behind it. And so I just want to make sure everybody's okay, that we know that everybody belongs regardless of whether you have the right answers for the best movies of all time or the wrong answers. Okay. And yes, if you need to just pick Pixar, Laura, as your favorite, you can just pick Pixar as the umbrella. That totally works. But there's some great movies in here. So thank you. Tony, you said Captain Fantastic. And I just want to say that is a underrated film. If you haven't seen Captain Fantastic, with Viggo Mortensen, who also stars as Aragorn, son of Arathorn, heir to the throne of Gondor in Lord of the Rings, then I recommend Captain Fantastic. It's fantastic. There's some Frozen 2 love, which is exciting. We'll tell you more about why that's exciting here in a minute. But thank you for those of you who engaged with us in that question of the day. If you're just joining us, my name is Colby Martin. I'm one of the co-pastors here at Sojourn, and this is our live stream virtual church. And we love having you here. We do this every Sunday morning live at 11 o'clock, although like Pastor Kate said a few minutes ago, we will, for the next 2 Sundays, be partially live. And then we'll be back in August, live. So, speaking... Hold on, I'm trying to pay attention to my wife talking smack off camera here, and it's throwing me off my game. Okay, speaking of movies, last summer at Sojo, we did a thing called Taco Tuesdays and the Movies. I don't know if you remember this, friends, but on Tuesdays, we met at Rubio's in Mission Valley, and we had cheap tacos together, and then we went across the way to the AMC there, and we watched a movie together. We did this every week for like 2 months during the summertime, and it was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed getting to know some of you and seeing movies with you. And obviously, we can't do that this summer. A few things have changed over the last 12 months. But we still want to talk about movies, I guess, is my point. And we still think that movies in Sojo, going to the movies in our own way is a fun thing to do. So we're gonna share a bit about what's going on here in the next maybe at least 4, maybe 6 weeks here in the summertime at Sojo. What we're going to do is we're going to, each week, so starting next week, we're going to pick a movie and invite everyone who wants to participate to watch that movie this week. And if you've already seen it, great, you can skip it. But if you haven't seen it, the goal is to watch a movie, and we'll put out a schedule here shortly of all the movies for the next 4 to 6 weeks that we're going to do this series on. And for that week, watch the movie. And then on Sunday, we're going to talk about it a bit. Not like in a not like reviewing it and rating it, but more in a way of what is this movie trying to say about some of the deepest questions in life? How are we finding particular relevance or significance to our life? And so we are calling this series Meaning in...
Sojourn Grace Collective presents Meaning in Movies, Summer of 2020.
So that's me. That's Meaning in Movies, coming summer of 2020 here at Sojourn Grace Collective. And we wanted to start first by just talking about what does this mean? What does it mean to talk about meaning in movies? And so I want to first start with the word meaning itself. And I want to name that it might get a little bit overly philosophical, but just hang in there. It's not gonna last very long. It'll almost be over before it began. But I want to talk about this word meaning. What do we mean when we talk about meaning? So broadly speaking, this word meaning here is sort of a catch-all phrase for anything, any experience or phenomenon in life that has relevance, significance, and or value. If a thing has relevance, significance, or value, then it has a sort of meaning, whether it's in our lives or sort of in life in general. And so when it comes to something like interacting with an art form like movies, we as we're going to do this summer, meaning in movies, we're going to talk about, okay, what is the relevance, the significance, or the value of this movie in our life or in life in general. But I kind of want to go one click further with this idea of meaning and say, well, within the idea of meaning, there's kind of two ways to talk about meaning. Again, it can be a little bit philosophical, but just for a minute, hang with me, and it's all going to work out just fine. So first, you can talk about the meaning of something. The meaning of something. And when you're talking about the meaning of something, philosophers might call this cosmic meaning, or external meaning, or big meaning. This is what it means to talk about the meaning of, that you are talking about a large existence, overarching narrative. These are the deep truths about life and reality when you talk about the meaning of something. And then secondly, you might talk about meaning in something. Meaning in. So as opposed to cosmic, this is like the terrestrial meaning. As opposed to external, this would be an internal meaning. Philosophers even just contrast it as big meaning, small meaning. On one hand, you're talking about the meaning of something, large, overarching. On the other hand, you might be talking about small meaning. This is sort of the experiencing things in the moment. This is about how we make meaning out of our lives as opposed to have meaning imposed upon us. To say that we found meaning in something is to say that this phenomenon that in question, it has some sort of specific, again, and go back to the definition, specific relevance or significance or value to us in our individual lives. This is small meaning. This is the meaning in something. Okay, great. Why are we starting here? Why am I talking about meaning of and meaning in? Why am I talking about big meaning, small meaning? Because here's why. Because I think when we engage with any art, and specifically for us in the next few weeks is going to be the art film or art form of movies. When we engage with art, we engage with it in these two different ways. We engage with it on asking big meaning questions, and we engage with it asking small meaning questions. So to ask questions like, what does this mean? What's the director trying to say? These are the meaning of questions. These are the big cosmic meaning questions. And then when we engage with it for things like, how did it impact you? Or what relevance did that have in your life? Now we're engaging it on this small meaning, this meaning in. And I point this out because when we're talking about big meaning, when we're talking about the meaning of things, you can debate that. You can discuss that. You can argue about that. There's a sense in which if you're talking about art and you say, well, what did the artists mean? What were they trying to say with this? Technically, there are some answers that might be closer and or better and or more accurate than others when you're talking about big meaning. But when you're talking about small meaning, when you're talking about this kind of the meaning in something, it's going to be entirely dependent upon how it has significance, relevance, and or value to you in your own lives and stories. And at this point, when you're engaging with the meaning in something, small meaning, it's not really debatable anymore. You can't really argue. There isn't really one answer that becomes better or more accurate or more true than another. This is why some works of art will be incredibly meaningful to some people or to some types of people because it just might hit you in a particular way, whereas for others it might fall flat. This is the small meaning, the meaning in something. Okay, so all that to say, our series title, as we talk about it, Meaning in Movies, we're going to engage with these movies in both of these ways, to ask these big questions. What does the movie mean? What is the director trying to say? What are the themes, the large, overarching, existential questions that is trying to be answered or engaged with in this film? We're going to engage in that. And we're going to talk about small meaning. How did this impact you? What did this mean for you in your life? What was the significance or value for it in your life? And we're going to do a bit of both in this series. And all along the way, we're going to invite you to engage with us. We're going to invite you to share. What do you think the meaning of this movie was? What do you think the big meaning is? And or where did you find meaning for this in your individual life? So Kate's going to hop up here in just a second to share a bit about how we're going to work our way through the movies. We're going to have a few questions each week that we're going to engage with. And the last thing I'll say is this. Some people, especially if you haven't been around Sojourn for too long, you might end up asking a question, why on earth are you doing a series like this? What is the point of doing something where you engage movies on Sunday at church? Why use movies to talk about meaning in life? Why not something more traditionally religious like the Bible, for instance? Some of you might be asking that question. And I do think that's true. I do think some people watching this, especially those who are relatively new to Sojourn, might be wondering why using movies to talk about meaning. And I'll say this. Our mission here at Sojourn is to foster spiritual, social, and emotional wholeness. That's what we are about. And so we are constantly asking questions like, how can we move ourselves and in each other toward wholeness in these three areas? What are the things that can teach us how to move toward wholeness? What can show us how to foster this sort of wholeness? What can unlock us in areas where we might be stuck? What truths can we call back to ourselves to find wholeness and connection? What truths might open us up more to God, divine source, as well as open us up more to one another's? And Kate and I happen to be of the opinion that many things in life can be teachers of meaning. Many things in life can be teachers of big meaning. What is the meaning of life? As well as many things in life can be teachers of meaning in your life. Many different sources can offer meaning and purpose and significance and relevance and value in our life. Kate talks all the time about how nature, Mother Nature, is an incredible teacher of meaning. Relationships, incredible teachers of meaning. Cooking, all sorts of life lessons can be learned in cooking. So my point is there's just all sorts of things in life that can be teachers of meaning. And we think movies, in a unique way, have this capacity to help us engage these questions of meaning. We think that movies, to put it succinctly, we think movies have immense power to help us discover meaning, both in life in general, big meaning, and in our lives in particular, small meaning. I came across this quote this week from Viktor Frankl in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. And he says, ultimately, a person should not ask what the meaning of their life is, but rather must recognize that it is they who are asked. In a word, each human is questioned by life, and they can only answer to life by answering for their own life. To life, they can only respond by being responsible. So maybe it's not so much about what is the meaning of life, but it's life asking us, what is the meaning? What is the meaning? And we think that the work of finding meaning in our lives and making meaning out of our lives, we think this is sacred and holy work. And so if movies have the power to provide us with the potential for discovering such meaning, then I'd say it's well worth our time and energy. Plus, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. All right, Pastor Kate, why don't you come on up here and
love it.
Hand it over.
Wholeness, growth, spiritual growth. You're watching movies together. What can't be anything better, actually, which my husband, you might have seen in the comments. You might have seen in the comments that I end up eating humble pie because Colby will think of these ideas and I'll be like this. My Enneagram 4 relevancy personality. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm on it today, aren't I? I've just been one big mess today. Hi! I just rambled about some stuff. Anyway. Yeah. Colby really wants me to repeat what I was just saying. Sorry, you were watching my mouth move to nothing for a little bit. I was just saying, I love what Colby said. I love this series, and I was admitting that I have to eat humble pie, and I threw a comment in there about that because Colby comes up with these ideas, and then I go big eye roll because, I don't know, my personality. Sometimes my personality sucks. But then, we go with it, and it's beautiful, and I'm actually very excited about the series. So I love the idea of wholeness through watching movies, which we already love to do anyway. Like he said, it's going to be fun. And then thinking about spiritual growth while doing something I already love is beautiful. So what I wanted to do really quick to finish out our introduction to this series is to let you know very specifically the big meaning and little meaning, both, that we're going to be looking at as we watch these films. So there's specific questions, specific ways that we're going to dissect the movies we're watching. And so I've got 6 very specific ways right here that I'm just going to list off really quick and kind of explain what we mean when we come to them. So as Colby said, we're not giving reviews of the movies. We're looking at the movies for the meaning and the meaning of. We're looking for spiritual growth. We're looking for wholeness, right, and flourishing in our lives. That said, we cannot get to spiritual wholeness, to growth, spiritual growth, without doing some looking at what's negative, what needs to be weeded out. Whenever we're talking about spiritual growth, it involves a critical lens. And so we will be looking at these films and asking the question, what unhelpful stories and or stereotypes were exposed and or perpetuated? So even in films that we all like, I was thinking about that in the list of the question, when people were throwing out films that they love, each of those I could go through and think through some of the harmful stories and stereotypes that have been perpetuated in those films that I love. And so we're going to love these films and we're going to be critical of them, both and we're just going to name for ourselves what was harmful in that, because it's about spiritual growth and wholeness, right? And if we're going to get there, then we're going to name what's not helpful so that we can move through it and tell better stories with our lives. Instead of unconsciously just emulating what we just saw play out in the story, right? Some of the greatest growth I've had in my life is learning to watch film as a woman and point out the harmful things that I was living without realizing it. So that's the first specific way that we're going to question these movies. Another one is we're going to bring another one of our favorite spiritual growth tools to the movies. We're going to bring the Enneagram to the movies. Ever since I learned the Enneagram, I have not been able to watch film, TV, or movies without laughing about the Enneagram types that I'm typing them, and the way that they play out in their journey throughout the 2 hours of the movie. Watching their Enneagram life play out has just been a fun way to continue to learn the Enneagram and think through how it affects people's growth and their stories. So we'll be asking with each movie, what Enneagram types do you think the characters are, and how did you see that play out in their growth? Were they leaning into their stress points, or were they leaning into their growth points, and how did that affect their journey and their relationships? One of the movies that is coming up, we'll mention on the schedule, I was just obsessed over the Enneagram part. It was so obvious to me what the 2 main characters' Enneagram types were, and it's one of my favorite Enneagram relationships, the 2 types together. Best. So I can't wait. Next question that we're going to ask about these movies is just, how did you see yourself and your story play out? So this is the meaning in that Colby was talking about. Nobody can argue with you. It can't be debated. It's just seeing your own personal story. So we'll be asking you that to sound off in the comments about where you saw yourself in this movie, if you did. And we'll be sharing our stories. Again, the two movies that we're about to do over the next 2 weeks, both of them are just so much my life story in them, saw myself in them so much. So I'll be sharing with you about that. Next, we'll be asking, what did you learn about the meaning of life? That's that big meaning that Colby was referring to. Just so simple, but a great question to ask anytime you watch something. What did you learn about the meaning of life? And then lastly, and this is my favorite actually, even though it's so geeky, and actually kind of something that I would have thought Colby would have thought of, and I would have rolled my eyes at him, but actually I thought of this, and I rolled my eyes at myself, and yet then geeked out about it. So we're going to ask with each movie that we watch. I broke this up into 2 parts. This is a 2-parter. We're going to ask, where did you see Christ and where did you see Jesus? Weird, I know. Hold on. Stay with me. We're going to do that. So first I want to say that Richard Rohr has done a lot of work to break up those 2 ideas. In modern evangelical Christianity, we've kind of decided that Jesus Christ was a guy's name, right? And Christ is his last name. And Rohr has been reminding us that, nope, Christ was not Jesus' last name, and Christ was an idea that has existed for much longer than even Jesus existed before his life. And so Rohr, that was close. Rohr teaches about the universal Christ, separating out Jesus from the more ancient word and concept of Christ. So he says, what if Christ is a name for the transcendent within everything in the universe? What if Christ is a name for the immense spaciousness of all true love? What if Christ refers to an infinite horizon that pulls us both from within and pulls us forward too. What if Christ is another name for everything in its fullness? And so we'll be watching these movies and asking where you saw that, where you saw everything's sacred being pointed to and how it moved and pulled forward. I love that phrase of infinite horizon that pulls us both from within and pulls us forward. And so we'll be asking, where did you see this Christ idea, this universal Christ in these movies? And then the other part of that is the Jesus part, and it's so geeky, but what I am actually digging at is that there is an ancient story that played out in the time of Jesus that American evangelical Christianity has erased the story of and hijacked the story of, and it's the same story that's playing out now and always. And it's the story of speaking truth to power and flipping over tables. It's the story of the absolute wreckage and bondage of supremacy, and how people in marginalized groups turn into these amazing revolutionaries who change our societies, heal our societies, and then we somehow whitewash them and pretend that they belong to us, the group of the supremacy, and hijack those stories. So we're going to ask, does that show up in the movies? Some movies it's going to be like, well, I don't really see any of that in there. And then some movies it's like, oh, that was the story. This was all about power and flipping over the tables, and it was amazing. So that's how we're going to specifically dissect these movies. It's going to be so fun to just be with you in conversation and hear from you what you thought watching the movie, how you saw those things. We'll post those questions online so that you can have them to look at as you're watching the movie and be saying to yourself how you see this play out, and it'll just be so much fun. So that's what we're doing. Do you want to come back up with me? Huh? Oh, it's music time. You guys, what is going on with me today? The heat.
We'll come. Can we come?
And I'm just so tired of quarantine.
We're here. We like
That's
you.
what happened to me today. I love you.
We'll
This
come
is
up.
fun.
Great. Okay, bye. Okay, so when Harry met Sally, then, like, a relationship between an Enneagram 1 and a 7?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Maybe?
I see that.
You guys can at me. Let's
at
talk
me.
about it.
I would just like to get a GIF of you with that epic eye roll
Oh my gosh.
that had no audio context whatsoever, because that's going to be my default response to anything that annoys me from now on. I'm just going to text Kate eye rolling.
To go with the gif of Colby when the screen flipped to him eating
Yeah,
the donut.
the GIF of Colby and the donut. Yeah.
Gosh, live church is my favorite. Like Virch Live Church. There's a record of every wrong.
I wish my heart was a hammer. I'd put you back together. But it's just a heart like yours. If my hands were a paddle, I'd pull you through this trouble. But they're just hands like yours. Here's what these hands can do: be there to hold you. And when you lose your way, here's what my heart would say: love comes back, and love comes back, and love comes back around. When words are a rainstorm, the lightning crash and the thunder roar, they're just words like yours. And when that storm is through, new words will find you. And what those words will say, you're gonna be okay. 'Cause love comes back, and love comes back, and love comes back around. Yeah, love comes back, and love comes back, and love comes back around. wish your eyes were a window, could see the me that you know, but they're just eyes like mine. Love, it comes back in love, it comes back in love, it comes back around. Yeah, love comes back in love, 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 it comes back in love, comes back in love, it comes back in love, comes back in love, it comes back in love, it comes back around. We love y'all.
We do. That's true.
Okay, but you've got a graphic for it? Awesome. Hot second. Hot is literally a hot second.
It's so hot.
Hi, y'all. So, someone in this thread guessed the first two movies that we are doing in this series, which Colby is about to reveal on the screen. But someone in the thread guessed it. Spot on. Yay!
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like she knows us.
It's like
Samantha.
she
That was an
knows
impressive
us.
guess, Samantha.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
yes. So honestly, you should have seen these movies already. But if you haven't, we still love you. You still belong. But this coming week, if you can, watch or rewatch Frozen 2, and then a week from today, we will lean into the meaning in the movie Frozen 2. And then the week after that, Onward, incredible Pixar movie, which felt redundant to say. And then we do have 2 more movies picked after that, but we haven't decided which Sunday is which, so I didn't want to tell you yet. But I guess we could announce what the movies are. Or should we just
Next
save?
one's no, let's save.
Let's save. All right, so we're just giving you a little tasters at a time, little hors d'oeuvres.
I'm obsessed
to
with the
whet your
Enneagram talk that's
appetite.
already happening. I love this.
That's fun.
It's so fun.
That's fun.
I think Jazz is right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, Harry met Sally. Harry.
Sorry, Jazz.
Colby hadn't either until, was it last
Recently,
year?
yeah,
Yeah, I
recently.
think last year he watched it.
I think that's one of the ways we can, to go back to how to make peace, the peace book. I think maybe one of the answers is we can watch our friends' favorite movies. Like Matthew, I'm going to watch October Sky because you're one of my favorite friends and that's one of your favorite movies. So,
Making peace is watching your friend's favorite movies.
and then Matthew, you went and got something. Can you?
So everyone should watch Maleficent.
Did you get today's paper? You should get today's paper. Look at today's paper.
I went to turn it the other way, but this is right.
It's hard to see.
Get it closer to the camera. So this was this morning's edition of the San Diego Union Tribune, a whole section on Pride. And our dear beloved Matthew Blake Lovegood and his husband Christopher Lovegood were the front freaking page. Look at that gorgeous spread on Pride.
It's like a paper
The
pride
whole,
parade.
yeah, the whole paper Pride Parade is gorgeous. Go get your hands on it.
And that's because yesterday was supposed to have been
I know this week.
this coming week is just
If you don't know,
a
we
little
always
hand
march.
raise emoji in the
Pride
comment section
Parade.
if you're gonna miss being in the Pride Parade with us. Yeah, all the hand raise emojis. So sad.
It's about 105 degrees in this room.
Yeah, should we stop the live?
This up.
Stop the live feed? Okay.
Awkward goodbyes. Should we do our benediction?
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm like, I feel like there's something we haven't
Colby's
done
like,
yet.
There's something missing.
That's right. Oh, it's great.
Be brave
Because you are a child of God,
and be kind.
because so is everyone else. Love ya. We'll see you live in a couple weeks.